Hi, I'm Lisa from SquareOne Training. I'd like to show you some tips and tricks on Excel and Word, just two of the packages that we actually train at here at SquareOne. And these are very, very passionate to me. I love both of these packages. We are, just get a little bit about us. We are on the Wirral, so if you do want to come to courses at our training centre, you can. We can do the training for you online. Alternately, we can actually come to you as well. So any sort of options that you would like. All our courses are adapted to be inspiring. We make sure that you're excited and as motivated as we are. And very important that we learn and you learn to unlock your hidden potential. The courses are Microsoft Office. We also do all the CAD range, all the Adobe range, anything IT basically is what we're about. That's our main core business. So many years ago, I noticed that people were getting bad wrists, especially in Microsoft Office, all of that dragging and pulling and stretching that you do with the mouse. So I'm going to show you some tips that's going to help, I hope, and stop that bad wrist. So I'm going to start with Excel. And I set up a spreadsheet that has more than one sheet down the bottom. There's a sales 2 sheet down here. And most people want to jump sheets, and they use these arrows here on the left to actually click and actually scroll sheets. However, if you actually do right-click on that part of the bar, right-click, you can actually say which sheet to go to and press OK. So it's right-click there, and then you can go off, back, wherever sheet you're after. So that's just one of the shortcuts. You can also use Control Page Up and Control Page Down, and that toggles sheets. So if you just want to move one sheet at a time, if you hold down your Control key, Page Down or Page Up, depending which direction you want to go to. So I use a combination of those, depending. With spreadsheets, they're massive. So you're going to find that sometimes you want to scroll down 2,000 rows and you're, again, pulling this down as far as it will go and holding down your finger for quite a while. Up here, we call this the actual name box. It sits to the left of the formula bar, and at the moment it's saying C4, which is the cell that I'm currently on. If you actually click there, you can actually type where you'd like to go. So if I want to stay in column A, but go down 2,000 rows, I can simply type A2000. I can press enter, and you can see, ta-da, there I am. I am straight to that cell without scrolling. If you want to go back up again, in any Microsoft package, Control Home is always take me to the top. So if I do Control Home, that will take me there. Or with Excel, you can actually go back to the name bar and you can go A1 or wherever you want to go. A1 is the top cell and press enter. Hope you like that one. Okay, next one that I'm going to look at is all this highlighting a range. So if you want to highlight a range like that, takes some pulling the mouse. So the best way to do it is to be anywhere in that area and do Control A, and that will highlight the active area. So if I show you again, as long as my cursor's in this area here, I can do Control A, and that will grab that area, and I could put lines on, borders we call them, very, very quickly without pulling the mouse. If you do Control A when you are in the middle of nowhere, i.e. over this area, you can see there's no numbers above, there's no active area. Control A will actually highlight the entire sheet. So again, that's another shortcut that you might like. Control A means grab all, select all. Other features. What other things that are we likely to do? Well, this is a good one for me. I read a lot of data, and sometimes I have a lot of data, and I want to read that row and make sure I'm reading that row and only that row. So if I was on the 333 here and I wanted to highlight that row, I'd have to move my mouse right back to row 14 to do that. So instead of doing that, this is what I use. I use Shift and Spacebar. I think it's fab. It highlights the entire row without me traveling back and selecting that row number. If I want to highlight or read 2 or 3 rows, so if I highlight these little fellas, again, you can then go Shift Spacebar and it will highlight them. Again, very handy without you moving and dragging. Columns. You want to highlight columns. Again, why do you want to scroll all the way up to the H when you don't need to? So anywhere within that column, you do Control and Spacebar. So that's a column. Okay, so if I was there, Control, Spacebar will highlight that column. Then I can insert new columns or whatever you want to do once it's done. And again, if you highlight 3 columns, Control, Spacebar, you'll get 3 columns and 4 and 5 and so forth. So yeah, magic with rows and columns. Okay, the other thing is no dragging. So if I wanted to highlight from Monday to, I don't know, the 333, for example, I would click into Monday because that's my starting point. I would hold down the Shift key on my keyboard. Now, when you look for the Shift key, it's the one above the Control key. So you hold down the Shift key and then you click onto the 333. So there's no dragging. Click at the start, Shift, click at the end. If for any time you do drag, say you do drag like that, and you then let go and you think, I've done it again, I haven't got enough range highlighted, is all you do is hold down the Shift key and click, and it will actually change its mind for you as well. So no dragging is needed, and this is in all the packages, not just Excel. Do the same in Word, Outlook, you name it. It's the same, even on the internet, it's the same theory. Okay, so enough dragging and highlighting for a second. I'm now going to show you how to add up and do some tips for adding up and actually copying formulas. So I'm going to click into F2, which is where I want the answer, and I would like to add up what is on the left. Now, Microsoft came up with an amazing feature called AutoSUM. So if I move myself out of the way a minute. Okay, AutoSUM is a feature that allows you to add up. It's programmed to basically write the formula for you. When you click AutoSUM, what happens is it will look for numbers directly above. So if there's 2 numbers directly above the cursor, it will always add those up first. And if there isn't, it will always add left. So if I hit AutoSUM, you will see straight away that it will grab what's on the left because that's its range. And I don't press enter. Okay. If I press enter, it would work, but it would take me down a row. So I'm now underneath the 145 and I don't want to be because I've got to click back to go back and check the formula's correct. Okay, so this is what I do. I click where I want the answer and I do AutoSUM to start. I check it's the right range and then I do AutoSUM to finish. So basically, I double click on AutoSUM. And then when you've done that, to get it down, I don't go to the corner and then drag it. I double click it. On the corner, you wait till you get a very, very thin cross. And when you see the thin cross, you double click. So if I do that here, which is in I11, You put your cursor where you want the answer. You go AutoSUM. It highlights the range that it thinks that you want. AutoSUM again. And then you double click. Let's show you that here. Right. So in this range, I want to add up what is on the left. I know it's going to do it because Microsoft said look above, and if not, look left. So I'm going to be where I want the answer. I'm going to do AutoSUM twice. It's going to highlight the 3 to the left. Then I'm going to double click. Then in quarter 2, if I do AutoSUM, it's going to be intelligent enough to only do the 3 to the left. It's not because there's 3, it's because there's a formula in the way. So it's looking for 3 numbers and then saying, okay, I'll do that, then I'll stop because I know there's a formula. Double click to get it down. Okay, quarter 3, same thing. It's going to do just what we want. Double click. Come across here, quarter 4, again, what we want. And finally, those of you that use Excel, I train lots of accountants and people that are really advanced on Excel, and I ask them how they would add up those quarters, and they normally say I would go equals E57 plus I57, blah, blah, blah. And it would work. But if you do my little trick, which is AutoSUM, they programmed it in to say, look for numbers above. If there isn't any, look for numbers to the left. And if there isn't any, grab my subtotals. Ta-da! There you go. And it's done. And again, double click, travels it down. So I hope you like that. Obviously, we've got masses and masses of shortcuts for you, but hopefully they'll help, those simple ones there. Okay, next one I'm going to do, I'm going to swap to another sheet. So I'm going to go and use my control page down, jump to the other sheet. And I'm going to show you something that I don't think you would have found, but it pretty excited me when the new versions of Excel came out. So from 2013 onwards, they created something called Flashfill. And for years, I've been showing people how to write formulas where they can take a cell and then add another cell to it. So as an example, I'd want the full name of these two, but in one cell, so that I can do pivot tables and exciting stuff that we cover on our courses that are amazing. So I, for instance, would like to put those two together. And I would like it to say Burnett, then a comma, and then Jane. So I'm going to type the first person's name as it appears, then a comma, then I'm going to put a space in, and then I'm going to put Jane. So I'm matching it the way I want it to look. And then I'm going to double click, and that's going to then copy that all the way down that data. And when you do that, you will notice, A, it's repeated, and B, this little square comes up, which is called autofill options. And if I click that, I can say, actually, I don't want you to do that. I would like you to do a flash fill. And I think that's amazing. What it does, it takes that data and it replicates it and looks as though I spent ages and ages typing. And I use Flashfill to split things, merge things, put phone numbers, emails, and all sorts of clever stuff together and tricks that you can do. Okay, one more thing that we're going to do before we do some word shortcuts is I'm going to show you something that I'm very passionate about, which is dates. I love dates, calculations, analysing dates and everything. And I find that a lot of people type dates with dots in. And once it's typed as a dot, you can't do formulas or sort or anything like that. So I have decided that I need to change those to be slashes instead of dots. And I have watched people manually type them one by one until I come along and say stop. So what you do is you highlight the column. So you can either highlight a column by clicking here, like to highlight, or as we did before, have your cursor in the column, Control and spacebar. Okay, so you highlight the data, then you use something called find and replace. Okay, now I've always done this on the keyboard, but you've also got it on a magnifying glass up here, and it's find and replace. But I'm going to do it this way. Control F is find. It's going to say find what? And I'm going to say, I'd like you to find a dot, and I'd like you to replace that with a slash. And it's very important when you do this to double check that you have the area highlighted, because you wouldn't want it to start changing these amount invoiced data. That would be terrible. So just the contained area. You then say replace all, and there you go, 112 changes done in seconds. So if I do that, close, I can now sort those in alphabetical order, date order, by doing all sorts of magic, oldest to newest, blah, blah, blah. Many, many things you can do. But the secret is, do not type dots in. If you do, there is a way to change them, but please don't edit them one by one. I could go on and on with Excel, but I'm going to show you some Word stuff now. So you may think Word's pretty boring. Lots of people do, but I think Word could be quite exciting, to be honest. So let's talk about Word. Microsoft Word is used by all of us. We use Outlook. That's got all the features of Word in it, or most of them as well. So I'm going to talk to you about this information here. I've decided that I want to make some words bold, different words bold. And as long as you put your cursor in the middle of the word, it's good enough. You don't actually have to highlight it. So putting your cursor inside a word, you can then do bold. You can make it bigger. You can change case. I don't really want to change case, so I'll take that away. By the way, Control Z is fabulous in Microsoft Office. Control Z is undo. So if you do anything, it's a lot easier than moving up there. Control Z. So I've made the word automatically look the way I want. So I clicked into the middle of it, I made it bold, and I made it bigger. And now I've done that, I want to make other words look exactly the same. So to do that, I will double click my paintbrush, and as long as that's double clicked, it will allow you to paint as many times as you like. So I've got a paintbrush following me around. I can now do one click, one click, one click, and it will automatically do the rest of the text with that exact formatting. And when you're finished, you press escape. Press escape is stop painting. You can do that with lines of text as well. So a line of text this is called the margin, basically. And as long as your cursor's in the margin, you'll see the difference. When you're sort of on the text, it's an eye, and then when you move your mouse to the margin, it becomes an arrowhead. So one click in the margin is actually highlight the line. If you were to double click, you would always highlight a paragraph. So magic. If you do 3 clicks, you highlight an entire document. So I always find that really useful. So if I wanted to do these headings here, or I'd use paragraph styles, or maybe I just want to format them, you first of all click once in the margin, and then you make it look the way you want it to look. So if I say I'll have the text, I'll have it that shade of blue, and I'll make it bigger. I'll make sure that's the font I want, etc. And then when I've done that, I will do the same. I will double click my paintbrush. It will suck up all of that formatting. And then because I want the whole line, one click, one click, one click, one click. And again, when you finish, you press escape. I hope you like that one. I cannot live without the paintbrush. This is called the Format Painter. If you ask me how many times I use it throughout a day, many, many times. It's available in all the packages in Excel. Obviously, it's in Outlook as well. The secret is you've got to double click the paintbrush, because if you don't, if you click it once, it stops after one go. So it's a double click and then it stays on. And then when you're finished, as I did, I pressed escape to stop, which I think is far easier. Okay, what else can we do in Word that you may like? Let's have a look. Okay, let's put some boxes around text. Let's see if I've got anything interesting. There we go, this one. If I want to put a box around text, as long as your cursor's inside, again, magic, as long as your cursor's inside the data, you don't actually have to highlight at all. You can use borders or whatever format you want, and you can see it's put a box around it. Let me just move my graphic out the way for you so you can see. So anywhere on that paragraph, and if you're on a paragraph and you think, actually, I'd like to center it, you can do that. Again, you don't have to highlight, it's a myth. Anywhere on it, you can do anything at all. I could go on and on and on, as you probably gathered, but I just wanted to give you a quick taster of some of the things, some of the shortcuts we do, how our courses will really help you, and I hope this session's done something. Please practice, please use your paintbrush, double click your paintbrush, and please try and not drag the mouse. Thank you so much.